Every 5 years, the Vietnamese Communist Party holds a national congress, from locals to national levels. This is a paramount political event in Vietnam, orienting political, economic, securities, and defense policies for the whole country. Every document for this event is produced by a single printing house. Every year, it prints approximately 10 billion pages of documents for multiple state agents, including the Communist Party, National Assembly, and Vietnamese government. Many high-profile Vietnamese newspapers and magazines are also printed here. This is the Tien Printing Factories, a state enterprise established in 1946. Like several other factories set up during the Vietnam's fight for independence, the Tien printing factories originated from colonial era business. In this case, it was a printing and publishing house, renowned for introducing Vietnamese people to new socio-political ideas during the colonial era. It all began with a French entrepreneur who brought modern industrial printing technology to Hanoi in 1885, Jean-François Henry Schneider. In 1906, Schneider invited a Vietnamese man to be the editor-in-chief of his newspaper, Tăng Cổ Tung Báo, which means turn the light, beat the drum, and later Trung Bắc Tân Văn, which means Central North New Literature. That man was Nguyễn Văn Vĩnh, a journalist, writer, and translator, and one of Vietnam's most famous democratic thinkers. Vĩnh recognized the enormous influence that such as newspapers and magazines could have on his society. The impact could be achieved thanks to a tool originated from Western language system, the national script. He once stated, "The futures of our Nam nation, good or bad, depends on the national script." The new script fractures a rift to centuries of writing in Chinese characters, which was preserved only for the Confucian elite. Meanwhile, based on the Roman alphabet, the new writing system was much simple to learn, easy to write, and accessible to the mass. In 1919, Nguyễn Văn Vĩnh bought the Trung Bắc Tân Văn newspaper and its printing house at the time, located at 2426 Cung Hưng Street, before moving to 68 Hàng Chống Street and then to 61 to 69 Hàng Bông Street. Traditional craftsmen specialized in engraved steels and carved wooden printing mold has long been operated in this area. This might explain why, starting in the 1910s, several modern private printing businesses, such as the Ngô Tử Hạ and Đông Kinh and Quán printing houses, choose to set up their press here, turning the areas into something like Hanoi's first industrial printing center. During the late colonial eras, the developments of the print press contribute to an enlightenment revolution in Vietnam, a revolution in which Nguyễn Văn Vĩnh and Trung Bắc Tân Văn played a major role in filling it with a flow of knowledge. This ranged from daily newspapers with national and global news, to popular science books, to translations of European classics by the like Alexander Dumas, Victor Hugo, Jean de La Fontaine, and Shakespeare, and finally to publications and political ideas and movements in the world. Trung Bắc Tân Văn even introduced Vietnamese to books and political figures the colonial regime deemed dangerous to the regime at the time. Trung Bắc Tân Văn publications contribute to a rapid transformation of the ideology on science and worldview of Vietnamese people in the early 20th century. This role, however, shifted on 8th September 1946. On that day, the Vietnamese Communist Party bought one of the Trung Bắc Tân Văn printing facilities located on 30 to 36 Cung Hưng Street. Trường Trinh, the party's general secretary, renamed the facility Tien Bộ, means progress, printing workshop, and placed it under the direct management of the party's central office. The press continued to operate in Hanoi, but only for a short while. By the end of 1946, the party relocated its new printing workshop to the Viet Bắc resistance zone, where it became an important vehicle of resistance and propaganda activities, participating in a new cultural and ideological revolution. After 1954, the printed press played an important role in northern Vietnam's ideological and cultural field. Publishing, printing, and distribution became separated activities under the monopoly management of the Ministry of Culture. Turn by turn, over the next 4 years, all of Hanoi's 84 private printing houses either closed or were nationalized. The Tien printing workshop absorbed 8 of these private businesses during that period. It then relocated to a new, larger location at 175 Nguyễn Thái Học Street. This site had already had a long history of embodying state powers. It was first used as an execution site in the dynastic period. Then it housed the colonial government's mint, before becoming the site of Indochina's largest colonial prison, the Nhà Tien, which means Mean House Prison, a facility which Communist Party's members call their revolutionary school. By establishing its main state printing house on this specific site, the governments of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam sought to turn an imperial shackle prison into a socialist cultural fortress. With the help of the German Democratic Republic, the site evolved to constructions of the most modern printing complex in northern Vietnam, Tien Printing House. When it inaugurated in 1958, it was celebrated as a fully functional socialist cultural fortress for workers in 18,000 square meters. 600 workers operated this vast printing complex, which included industrial printing workshop with 45 typographies and offset printing machines, delivering up to 600 million pages per year. Warehouse, bookstores, dormitories for workers, and kindergartens for their children. Unlike Trung Bắc Tân Văn, the Tien printing house did not need to produce contents or distribute it to readers. The mandate was limited to only printing newspapers and other materials for different publishers and government agencies. The printing fortress was charged to project socialist political cultural ideas and messages across the whole northern Vietnamese society. For decades, its product permeates, weaved, and shaped the cultural ideological life of Vietnamese people. Through its official newspapers, cultural books, student textbooks, painting and propaganda posters, postal stamp, all the way to the most important documents of the Vietnamese Communist Party, National Assembly, and government. During all those years, the Tien Printing House was guided by the same principles to leave no misinformation, no publication with opposing viewpoints the government get through, and thus be the staunch pioneering warriors on the cultural ideological front of the party. Tien Boc's key role in the field of political propagandas and in the cultural life of Vietnamese people has been reaffirmed by numerous visits from top leaders of the party and state. In 2019, the Tien printing factories moved its entire facility to Gia Lâm. Under the influence of the new market economy, the old socialist cultural fortress was replaced by a commercial and business center. All that is left at 175 Nguyễn Thái Học is a relic of the Nhà Tien prison. The last material had witnessed a tumultuous period marked by shifting ideology and struggles over a powerful mean, with the capability to reshape the mental world of an entire society. The printed word.